Let's go. Welcome to the show. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me. Cause it's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. Let's get the topic straight. Let's get things good. Let's do everything that we should. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. Let's open our minds and take out our style. Let's see what's going on in the world tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. Alright, and what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Tig once again for Project Open Mic. Hope y'all doing well. Yes, so we're back at it again with a new episode, a new show. We're talking about the Red Pill Rage, but I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on topics we have going on. I want to double check something if you don't mind, to see if the volume is all good here. All right, yes. So again, I am your host. Welcome back on another Thursday Project Open Mic. I am your host Tig once again, to bring you a good show, and also to make sure you guys learn and understand stuff. I want to give a shout out to everybody again. If you're listening right now, you are listening or watching. If you're listening or watching, thank you. Remember, you can go to Project Open Mic on YouTube. We are playing on YouTube, Twitch TV, Nico, Facebook, You Live Now, all over the world. And of course, if you want the podcast, the audio, to listen to it later on in little bits, you can do that as well. You can go Project Open Mic on Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, and now we are also on iHeartRadio. You go to Project Open Mic on iHeartRadio. We're still trying to get an Apple iTunes. Don't worry, people, we'll get there. And Radio Public, and Amazon Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. We are basically worldwide in this situation. So when you hear the numbers I give off, it's mostly the congruent of most of the numbers that I can to the algorithm that I have to get the numbers all over the place. But again, I want to thank you guys for joining me and giving me your time, your mind, your ears, your eyes to listening, and hopefully you enjoy an educational part of the show to see what's going on in the world. So again, all those links for if your video place or podcast is a spot where you can have a description. In the description, you will see links to all the other podcasts. If you want to share this podcast with friends and family, again, have no problem going to YouTube or Twitch, whatever. Subscribe, follow, do what you can. We will get links also for IG and stuff like that. Like I said, Twitter and stuff is not my thing, and I'm not gonna put it on. I'm also not doing TikTok because of certain reasons, which you kind of gonna see a little bit in here. But tonight's show, we're gonna talk about Red Pill Rage. Last week we talked about women being the strongest they've been and the weakest they've been, and I will do something exactly the same way in that regard for the men. I want to be equal on both sides. But this topic came up, and of course I want to give a shout out, and the video is gonna be on YouTube for now, because how I do things on YouTube. There's a raw file. There's a link to the raw file. Go to the raw file to watch these videos without me interrupting it, doing anything. You learn stuff from there. So I would say like Pink Book Lessons is a place I go. You heard me use her a lot of times. But I also want to give a shout out to the Layman's Journal. I like the way he does his stuff, so I'm gonna use his videos to point out something as well with the Red Pill Rage. And I want people to understand a good concept of it. Even I have felt this in that regard. So we'll break down that as the main topic. For right now, I want to talk about two things quickly, which is gonna be one of them gonna be a future show, and another one just topical because that's what Project Over Mike is. It's a topical show. We talk about what's going on in the world, and I begin. So first, I would like to say this: my heart. Unlike former President Obama, who says prayers don't do nothing, hearts and prayers and stuff, I get he's way said a little bit, but again, what you're doing is not no different. So, Mr. President, so I'm sorry. But my heart goes out to the people who are in Hawaii, Maui, and most of the Big Island of Honolulu as well, because of the storms going out there. My heart with the fires. My heart goes out to those people. Hopefully you guys will come together to community and work things together and make sure outsiders do not come and take over stuff. As you're going to see why I say that. For a specific reason. This is why I say that. I don't... It is hard to see pain. It's hard to see people suffering. And that is one right there. A natural disaster has come and it has taken over certain things. And it does... ruins people's life, and it really does suck. So it is sucky for that. There's a reason, and a reason I said it in my description. It said that you people need to stop, and I myself have gone through this multiple times, so I always know this, and this is why I do certain things my way. We need to depend on ourselves. This is I used to say this at the end of my show. Sometimes you need to take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your neighbors, take care of your community, then go to a bigger scale. Because the government, 90% of the time, I wouldn't even say 90. I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt. I'm a libertarian. 99% of the time, they don't have the best virtues for you. They just don't. Okay? I have showed you multiple times on this show where we talk about the thing that happened in Puerto Rico, where because they wanted to go against Trump for some weird reason, but when it happened in Puerto Rico, where the hurricanes came in 2017, and just because the governor at the time, the mayor of Puerto Rico, South Puerto Rico, she wanted to just push back and feel whatever, she took away millions of bottles of water that could have gone to her people, just to make the president look bad at the time, President Donald Trump, and suffered her people. Millions of bottles of water was on a runway. I showed that video multiple times, just because she wanted it. Now she's in jail, thank God. That's horrible to do that to people. That's horrible. Then it comes to find out, baby food, all kind of food. But they had an earthquake a couple of years later. Come to find out, they stored it. The governor now at the time stored the food and put it in story houses and stuff like that. That's why I say, nah, I don't trust the government like that. Only you could do stuff. I've been in hurricanes when I was in St. Thomas, when I used to be living there, Hurricane Maryland. It was my next door neighbor, my neighbor across from the house. We all came downstairs. We all came together so we can get life straight. When our landlord had cut off the power line, the weather had to the house where we were, and multiple people couldn't get out to the apartments we were, and multiple people could not get power when power came back on. We were out of power for a long time, for months, and then we finally get power back. But our landlord cut off the weatherhead. I don't know why. She's passed away, so I don't know. You can't answer that. But across, we were 3 stories high, and across is another. That was 2 stories high, but it's almost the same level. But our neighbors across there we had an extension cord, through our extension cord, so me and my next door neighbor could plug up our refrigerator, at least get a refrigerator so we could have food and stuff like that. They didn't get lights or nothing, but did that. And we came together, we cleaned houses, we cleaned people, we take away trash. We did a lot of stuff as a community. And that is what America has lost. Its self community. Now there are small communities around as is coming around and been doing good stuff. But we need a self worth of a community to help each people. Like really, when a best example, small example of that is like is Memphis. Memphis is a lot of the Democrat-owned cities, a lot of the blue big cities. They have crime problems, of course, because they're just slapping the wrist and letting people steal stuff and just get away with thousands of stuff, and they're affecting other people because of crime. With that crime, then people can't. Let's go through this logically, people who in government. If you're just slapping the wrist on people who are doing these small crimes, as you say, then they stop the stores. Like the Walmart in Chicago and all stuff. They stop the stores. When they stop the stores, what does happen? You create a food desert. You don't have nobody to create job. You lose tax dollars from not only the employees, but also the stores that moves away, or from the jobs that they can't do nothing. You idiots. You lose all that because you want to let these crime waves keep on going, and these bad actors who go in there, these young kids, black, white, make no difference, Hispanic, all them different, no matter what the race is, go in there and destroy gas stations, Walmarts, Targets, etc., Walgreens, yeah, and they move. And then you be like, oh, these corporations just want money. Point taken, yes, they want money. Really? You can't believe that they want money? Yes, I want money too. I'm not going to be greedy, but I want money as well too. But here's the thing. They need to have a safe spot when you supply to the community. Now you have places now that's called food deserts. That's a problem. Again, I showed you a video up in New York with the drug, when we had the pandemic, and it was a drugstore, a black-owned drugstore in New York, in a certain part of was it Queens? It was in Queens. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I showed a video and I said, so I apologize for that. But it was in one of the boroughs, and they went there and ransacked that place. Now here's the thing: that doctor did that pharmaceutical place so he can help a lot of poor, a lot of blacks, a lot of Hispanic people who had to take the bus and go maybe 2-3 miles or down to the big city, because a lot of elderly are not able to catch the bus all the time, whatever. He did that in that spot. And yes, they have insurance, but again, insurance don't cover everything. So with that problem, when they did that, he shut down. And that created a problem for that borough. So a lot of people need to understand these things. That's a problem. So I'm saying that because, again, we need to become a community when things go crazy. We need to make sure we stuff up the bad stuff. Remember, bad. As I always say, evil comes in all shapes, size, color, creed, race, height, sex, gender, location, nationality. It makes no difference. Evil is evil. And the only way you can combat that kind of evil is to have good people. That is it. Good people is the only way to combat that kind of craziness. So good people stop bad people. That's very, very simple. That's very, very simple. So just want to say that. Okay, look like we have 11,414 people in the building. Thank y'all again for joining. Cause again, Tempo FM, everybody, like all the people coming in. Thank y'all for giving me a time. So I want to point out this before we get into the main topic. I want to point out two things right here. So let me go with that. The two things is this. So the reason I said that because President Joe Biden, when they asked him about Maui, he said no comment. He couldn't say, oh, I feel hard for those people, whatever. That was not on his agenda. And again, I'll point this out right here. When this is happening, when these kind of big stories are happening, Watch the government. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. Watch the government. They pass the most craziest bill or some of the secretest things, the most secret things pass because everybody's worried about this stuff. Remember when they had the submarine? That's when they try to pass the Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden plead guilty, bargain, and blah blah blah. It didn't work that well, thank goodness. But they're trying it again right now. You gotta be careful in this, okay? And now that happening, it's coming to be a situation, a problem, I should say. Okay. And it's weird. All right, so, but a lot of people are kind of weird about the whole the fires, the wildfires, how it happened, and why it's doing so much damage, and how this happened out of crazy. So I just want to play these theories because a lot of things don't make sense. I watched a video too where the AI, I don't, it could be AI, and I will have a video about AI too. I'm gonna have to do one about them, but it also could be a part where on Amazon there's a book that just came out about the wildfires that quick. Where the people sorry, I do this for my audio people. I do this at nighttime, and after I have a full-time job, and I do this still to entertain and educate. So yeah, I do catch some of the sleeping yawns. You get that? I apologize for that. But this book came out with a quickness, and while people are still not, there, tens of thousands, there's 1,000 people still are not accounted for. The death toll is 105 right now. It's just weird how that just happened, just weird. But anyway, I want to get into give you two theories because something is weird about this, and my thing is just keep your eyes open for this weirdness. I'm kind of bringing this out to you, but watch it. Something is hanky about this for sure. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look into this.
Several wildfires have broken out on the island of Maui, creating mass devastation and destruction, most notably the town of Lahaina. This is not the people's fault, and our hearts go out to those affected.
Yes, our prayers and our hearts goes out to those people who have lost. Most of the people have lost everything, their jobs, everything. That's a devastating thing to do, and I feel for them. You have to rebuild, we always rebuild. But be careful what cityist people comes to there.
Why is Lahaina significant? It was once the capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii, prior to the forced U.S. annexation and the eventual move to Honolulu. Lahaina is filled with native property and business owners that have dug their heels in and have refused to sell their properties to conglomerates such as BlackRock, Vanguard, and Oprah. Unglobalized, prime oceanfront property still owned and managed by the natives. So what caused this destruction? Short answer, no one knows.
Nope.
All government agencies, local and federal, have vehemently stated that it is unknown. However, there are two competing theories online. One, environmental. The perfect combination of a major hurricane 200 miles off the southern shore of Maui, combined with northern pressure to create massive dryness and winds. Or two, diabolical. Something the conspiracy theorists call a DEW. Direct energy weapon. What? I had the same response, so I started Googling. The first article that pops up when you Google Maui DEW is from Newsweek. It starts like this. The devastating wildfires in Hawaii have brought a new conspiracy theory from climate change deniers who suggest that the destruction was orchestrated by the federal government's direct energy weapons. Ugh. Anytime a propaganda media article starts with conspiracy theory by climate change deniers, makes me want to believe it more.
Exactly.
And Maui is an island surrounded by water next to one of the largest U.S. military bases. Local residents are saying that they received no advanced warning and that they only evacuated once they saw the thick black smoke at their doors. Why was the federal response so slow on this matter?
That's
waiting until the fire had overtaken this area prior to action.
So there you have it. This is the.
That's a thing that makes me wonder too, because the Hawaiian the governor of Hawaii says, oh, just straight up, oh, climate this, whatever. What? Missed me with that nonsense, okay? And nobody has, maybe now, but for the couple weeks, for the first week and a half, there was no response to stop, do something, make a firewall, make a backdraft, anything for the fire. Something is weird in that. I don't get that. That one is weird as heck. And it makes me feel like, what the heck is going on? It's just something that just makes me think, my mind, something is wacky about this. Really is. You gotta keep your eyes open for certain things.
First conspiracy theories were that these fires were deliberately set to displace the natives of Lahaina so as to enable conglomerates like BlackRock to move in. But while all alternative explanations agree that the fires were deliberately set in order to displace, they disagree over the role of a conglomerate like BlackRock. Others believe that what's happening in Hawaii is actually part of the green agenda from such nefarious actors such as the demons in Davos.
Now, the governor did say this is climate change doing this. Interesting. What they don't talk about is in January how they had in Maui a smart city conference to turn Maui into an entire smart island, changing everything to electric, renewables, solar panels, and pushing everybody into electric vehicles. 15-minute smart cities. So now what's also interesting is next month in September, Hawaii is hosting the Digital Government Summit, utilizing AI to govern the island. It's almost like they're resetting something to start rebuilding for this in which they're trying to push.
And
Most people have no clue that.
So there you go. That's the situation we have there. But I want to bring up something too, and this is why I said this is going to be a show. This is why I said this is going to be a previous show. Okay, here's why I said this is going to be a previous show. You're going to be listening to this right here. I am a staunch. Let's put staunch. I use simple sense. I can't say common sense because common sense means that people need to have. You have to be common. Everybody know water's wet. That's common sense. Fire's hot. That's common sense. But for some reason, lately, the American brain has become more and more stupefied with all things going around and everything. It makes no sense, and I do not get it. Okay? It puzzles me. It puzzles me totally. All right? So, I got a question here. This is crazy, but I got something here I want to talk about and state it. People always talk about, we're going to do the green energy and all this stuff. And again, I have solar panels on my, just for statement, I have solar panels on my house. I recycle. We do need to clean the air as best as we can. Not with no drastic money wasting crap like people come up with. I've shown, and I am not just a talker, because I have also put down ideas that will make things better. Okay? I have done that. So I'm not just saying stuff like that. I'll say, hey, how about this option? How about that idea? I have done these things. Okay? Talking about this stuff. But I do not think we will be all electric. We will never get all electric. I don't think we will be there. The reason I say that, because oil does so much stuff for this planet that when oil goes away, I think civilization is going to be whatever. Because to build some of the solar plants, you need oil. You need plastic. You need oil. You need something to burn that could do some of the glass and all the stuff. Like, you need stuff. And right now, I said we should be living off of all forms of electricity: solar, wind, power, water. Solar, wind, hydro, maybe water, thermal, and oil. Let's save the oil as much as we can, because when that goes, I think we're going to really be screwed in this world. Because again, plastic, oil, oil, oil. Some of our clothes is all made from the oil. Oil. They might be cloth, but it was a form of petrol to make the gas so you could do stuff. Oil is in so many things, and electric is not gonna cover everything. It's not gonna cover the because again, you will need to find a substitute for styrofoams, which is made from oil. You can do plants, but again, when the oil gone, you're gonna stop making the plants. So what we're gonna do? We can't regrow certain things that fast. Certain things we can, some things we cannot. Champs in oil, like it's a lot of oil stuff all over the place. My water container, made from metal and plastic. Oil. Okay? So that's what that is. But they just said electric cars, right? Let me show you how crazy it is. I want to show you this video to you, a little bit of it, but again, it'll be a future topic because I've talked about this before. I'll show you this, but then we'll get into a main topic about red pill rage. So let's get into this one just to show you how fake some of these they do this. Okay, check this out.
This is a field of over 10,000 Neta V Chinese EV cars that are rotting away.
10,000.
600多台啊，
These are basically brand new cars.
都是50公里以内啊，上牌新
You'll
车。
see the
And this
plastic in
man
it like
has
that.
just exclaimed that these BYD cars, all 2021 models, have less than 31 miles on them. Just like that field of 10,000 cars, they all have license plates on them, they're all fully registered, and they've been put away to rot. Yes, all of these cars have been left to rot. Why on earth is China throwing away entire fields of electric cars? By now, we've all heard that China's EV sales are outpacing the rest of the world. You'll see the headlines that say, China is now the leader in EV sales, and Tesla's got to watch out, and all this other nonsense. Well, guess what? It's true, the numbers are true. But what you're not taking into consideration is that China is the land of shortcuts and facades.
Yep.
And all of these cars that you're seeing in this field, well, they're counted in those numbers. Let me explain to you what's going on. Should be around...
Because not only the cars is that,
Yes.
and not only that, because remember they try to get you with the bike sales. Look, this is what happened. Remember bike sharing and everything.
The Neta Vs and the BYDs and the bigger brands that you see huge amounts of them just parked out to rot. Well, you see, that's because they need the numbers in order to get subsidies from the government, in order to put out the sales.
They need to fake
figures
up the
that they've
numbers.
sold more than Tesla, and that they're leading in EV production and EV sales. They need to have these fake sales, so BYD themselves will register them and put them on the market and then claim that they've been sold. And then, of course, they've got all those excess cars and they just stick them in a field. And
You can make history tomorrow.
But there's a bigger problem. There are even more car graveyards, and that has to do with this stupid investment scheme. Let me explain. In China, very often you get these fly-by-night investment schemes. Someone comes up with a good idea like bicycle sharing, for instance. And guess what? People jump on the bandwagon. They raise a bunch of investment capital. They start a company. We saw it go absolutely crazy with the shared bicycle schemes. We covered this on the China show, where we showed these mountains of bicycles that had been discarded because the companies knew that if they pumped these bikes out, they'd keep getting investment. So they just kept pumping them out, even when it wasn't financially viable, because like a Ponzi scheme, you just keep getting your investment money in, and all of these bike companies pretty much shut down except for two. And a lot of the people that started these bike companies ran away with the investment money, never to be seen again.
Get away with a great deal at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Now's the time to get in and get away. Get up to $1,000 bonus cash on the 2023 Tucson or Santa Fe, plus 3.29% APR, now during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Companies of all sizes use BigQuery to uncover new insights from their data, like cost savings.
The bicycle sharing schemes kind of came to an end in late 2018. And then suddenly, and because the bicycle sharing investment scheme had now disappeared, people stepped in with a new investment scheme for shared vehicles. And this time it was for electric cars. Now, there's this fantastic video, which I'm going to link below in the description. You can see it in the background here. But there's a documentary filmmaker who went and took drone footage of the shared bikes. And he made this video called No Place to Place in 2018, where he showed all of these massive mountains of the shared bike failures. But he then went in 2019 to film the fields of abandoned electric vehicles. So this is No Place to Place 2. And what you're seeing are these fields of shared cars. You see, the idea, like shared bicycles, would be that you have an app. And if you need a car, you can look in your app and see, oh, there's a shared car nearby, a shared electric vehicle. And you go and you unlock it with your app and you can drive to your destination and then lock it again. It's actually a very nice idea. It's not a bad idea at all. But of course, because it's all a money grab and it's a ridiculous scheme and a Ponzi scheme type situation in China, they just pump these things out without doing proper market research, without actually seeing if it was viable or not.
And I'll stop it there because we will go more and more deeper into this. But you see all these cars. You saw all the bikes. You see all the bikes that they have. These are literally bikes, brand new bikes they have out there just to for the waste. All right, brand new bikes. They're just out there just because of one of that. And of course, you see in the video with the commercial. Of course, who they have in there in the commercials? Who they have in the commercial? Hollywood. Yeah, like I already don't trust. Like I already don't trust Hollywood. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Leonardo DiCaprio. Whatever. Sell out. Exactly what it is. You're a sellout, all right? Piece of craziness. Anyway, but that, like I said, that'll be a topic for another show. We will talk about that, okay? That's what we'll do. So, let me go back to here and let's get into a topic. And hopefully I'll get you this tonight with two main videos and three. So, young men are going through a situation right now. At this point right now, there's more women going to college than men. I don't think that's... A lot of people like to hit that up. Oh, a lot of women are going to college. Yes and no, I don't care, because majority of the degrees the women are taking up are degrees that just does not make sense. And again, women have more debt than men when they're going to college, coming out of college. Shocking. So a lot of women like to, there's a lot of women out there who like to load it over. I make more money than you. Cool, great, whatever. I don't care. But you have more debt than me. All I have is this house. That's my debt. So, yeah. Other than that, nothing is. But there are a lot of men right here that are disengaged from society, and that is a soup for disaster. As we see, a lot of the people who are causing all the riots, all the looting, the troublemaking, all that stuff is because of what? Young men don't have no sense of need or urgency, so they're going out there to do stupid stuff and get themselves locked up or hurt or even killed. That's what they're doing. But, and I will blame that on not on society, but I would say there's a lot of young men that needs that. In the black community, there's a lot of young men that don't have a lot of fathers, so that creates that problem. A lot of these young men also, in general, are growing up to be. You see, there's a thing. This is a thing where I saw a video which I would love to dissect, and I'll do it another time. When the lady, and I agree with her, but she's liberal, and I ain't got nothing against liberal. I got a problem against right wing and leftists, of course. But it shows that where we have the same conclusion per se, but the problem about it is, well, and it, you can go watch the video. I'll let you go watch the video. It's called Shoe on Head, which is talking about men loneliness, and you can see the comments. Which it's funny enough to me that makes me think how people think is that you say it's not women's problem. Okay, that women got nothing to do with this shoe, and she's a female. That's why I said okay. But then you look at the comment section, you see how very bad the women treat the men. That has an effect on men. Just like a a-hole guy, which I would never. I do not condone violence. I do not condone stupidness. I don't condone any man treating any person bad. That's why I say evil, evil, good, good. I do not condone any person who treats a person like a piece of crap. Because the funny part about it, people always think it's exclusive to rich snobs. No. There are people who are down in the dirt and who just as an a-hole as a rich person. It's just the rich person has more influence and more power and more wanted. But there's a person, your next door neighbor could be a jerk to you. As I saw in a video, this week, where the neighbor was just being a straight up jabroni, and she got arrested, even though her husband was telling her calm down, and she kept on causing more trouble and trouble and trouble, and she got arrested because she would not calm down. So. But there are things out there that I gotta say. I cannot say the woe is me thing. I can't. Because guys, yes, we are the last defense. There's not many people out there, including other men. I will say that, including other men that will partake in trying to help us in going forward. Like, I know that because I see it, I speak to it. I have a gaming channel. Guys looking for entertainment and stuff like that. And again, if you guys want, I have a gaming channel called N/Duo, and I'm doing live streams now, kind of like this, and just play games and stuff like that. If you want to, come on in, talk to us, talk to me, see stuff. I respond to most everybody in the chat when they're chatting. Same thing on Twitch, and on Twitch. Well, we're not on Twitch yet. We're on Twitch, but we don't have a video link set up there yet. But in Duo, we got a community of guys who like that. We used to, and there's some girls there as well too, and you could come and take part of it. But in that regard, the thing I'm saying is, men, we have accountability. It really does. We know that women are the fairer sex. What I mean by that is, we're gonna be more society gonna be looking to women as even though they're trying to say they're strong and equal, we still will say this is kind of tough on females. And there's not all, and like I said in the show last week, not all females are that. There's some who are There's some who are, There's some who are just nice and good and decent. And there's some who are just pains in the butt. Just is. So, I myself experienced it, and I'll give you my story about red pill rage. And I want to explain it. Everybody think it's just a guy who's just being a jerk and does that, whatever. Now, there are parts of red pill rage where some guys take it off from other guys, and then it just manifests into incels and just being jerks to people. I do not condone that either. I think the reason I say that is accountability, because even though as a black guy, as a white guy, since Biden said if I don't vote for him, I ain't black, so I didn't vote for him, so I'm a white guy. But anyway, as society has, like I said, I have been through stuff, and again, I'm the one who had to, as the old saying go, pull up by the bootstraps, work hard, get to troubles. Like I said, I've never been arrested, but I have been close to be arrested because of some craziness that I, with a calm head and not acting stupidly, I got myself out of the situation. And again, the situation, I've talked about the situation before, but I don't think I'll talk about it tonight, but I'll talk about a very page more better. But my point of saying this is, I have to take accountability for myself. Yes, is it some things unfair in life? Life is not fair at all. I've seen it happen right in front of me. Of life is not fair. But what can I say? What can I say about this? Other than, wow, things are crazy. I should not be doing certain things. Give me a second. I just have to charge my phone there a little bit. All right. So that's just what I'm stating. So tonight, because a lot of people like to say men's are losers because it can't. Like I say, society is not helping a lot of men right now. Even in the church. I like the church that I go to because it's more equally and it's family oriented. It's a lot of males and a lot of males and females in this church. It's not like in the old black church where it's just like 80% females and 10% men and stuff like that. No, it's more balanced, and that's why I like it. And yes, I will start be putting back up some of the passages church. That's the church I go through some of their teaching and their sermon on Sunday, so people can watch that if you can't go to church, and just be with us, because I'll be at 9 o'clock. I'll be always in the church, listen to the sermon of the pastors, Pastor Matt or Michael, or I think it's Jonathan. If I'm right, but I could be wrong. Nathan, I could be wrong with the third, but anyway, I listen to them, and even tomorrow I'm going to a men's fellowship. It's early in the morning, and we're doing it for the last couple weeks now. But yes, early in the morning, where we men, we have a list where it says we gotta hold each other hold each other accountable, and we talk about issues, we talk about stuff. There needs to be more men outlets, and men need to be more invited for that, because there's a lot of guys right now who are in that video where I said about short head. They are single, they are despondent. They don't have no friends. They have no. They want to be loved, but the only love they got is from their mom and their dad. Like, they feel and society just locked them away. Masculinity is bad. Masculinity is this. You're a piece of crap because you believe all this stuff. Hollywood is very toxic, and as we see how Hollywood does it, or Hollyweird as I call it, to make that you see women. That's why right now the Snow White movie that's gonna come out is gonna be trash. Point taken. And also, Apple's looking to buy Disney because Disney's been losing billions of dollars, billions with a B, because of their stupid agenda they've been doing. All these live action movies they've been doing have not worked. Majority of them have failed. Some have worked, but most of them have failed. And they've gone bankrupt and not do any movies like they normally do, like they used to do. So that's how that goes. So in that regard, we have that situation. But it's still on us men to take responsibility, to not go and hurt anybody. But society, I'm just letting you know this. When you do this, when you push this nonsense towards men, these young men get very violent, very disoriented, and cause trouble and hurt not all the men, not hurt families, not hurt women, but it hurt their society, their community. And that's where we need to stop pushing this whole crap about men are jerks, toxic masculinity, what do you call it again? The matriarchy and all that, nonsense. All that is crap. Okay, it's literally crap. We need to stop doing that and treat women and men, boys and girls, equally, and stop trying to blur the line between them. Okay. So with that said, this is how red pill rage has happened. And again, it has happened to me myself. So I'm not excluding this out of me. But we got to understand what sets them off. Other than the ones who learn from other people and who become incels and be jerks and do stuff like that, I don't condone them. All right? But these are true people who went through stuff. These are fathers who got divorce, rape in court. Fathers who lose paternity. Fathers who got sent to jail. The guy is sent to jail for false premises because of what women do to the women that they love, the people they send their love to, and stuff like that. That will send a person into anger. And again, by association, some people hear those stories, and some men are like, I will never date a woman. A woman is this and whatever. A lot of regular guys want to be with females. A lot of regular guys do that. But again, there's another problem where 80% of women want the 10% of men, while the 10% of men, about the 80% of the men is just like almost invisible to the females. That causes that problem. And the whole 666, yeah, that's also nonsense to a women's style. I'll show you a video which is it's just as stupid as well too. But let's get into the story. These are true stories. These are movies, and these are true stories. This is what will cause a my situation, but I'll save it late for the last spot. But this will cause red pill rage. Again, shout out to the person I'm using the video called Layman. You can go at Layman's Journal. Very good channel, very precise. You could go and watch this. Very precise, okay? Very precise. I will give you a sample. I'll give you a sample of what some men like me could be like that, but at the time could be angry. I'm gonna give you a sample of what could lead up to something. Here's a sample, then we'll get into the story like I wanted to talk about.
I'm gonna lie. I can't let a woman jump back in my life after she left the relationship for some dumb reason. I can't do it. Seriously, this woman ended a 2-year relationship with me because she felt the new guy she just met was doing better than me. And her exact words was, he understood the kind of lifestyle I wanted to live. Now, fast forward 5 years. You've now got 2 kids by him. Turns out all the cash he was flashing, that was credit card. He didn't have no prospects, no jobs, nothing. And on top of that, turns out he's got another kid on the way by a different woman. I find it so interesting right now that this woman now wants to catch up and pick up where we left off. But when I said no, that I'm not interested, all of a sudden, apparently I'm childish and I'm being immature.
Listen, even though...
And there you go. And I get you. He feels good because it's like the get back. But I got him. He understands he understands when that happened and she finds out because how she wanted to treat him. Yeah, that caused a red pill rage a little bit. That's not one I go berserk, but that's one like... It hurts. Hurt does hurt, and that's a situation right there that needs to be seen. And it sucks. It literally sucks with that. Okay, I'm just watching the chat. The different chats are here. Shout out to Double A. What's going on? He's a member of the podcast. We will try to get the side chat back up for anybody in the future. Like I said, now we're spreading more and more. We'll get that back up we used to do it on Fridays. But again, yes, right now we're up to 17,850 people watching from all platforms. Thank you very much again for giving me a time and airing this. So let's go in now into the situation where will be a real red pill rage thing. This will cause red pill rage. Point blank, period.
Rage can also happen to men who can't get the women they want. I'm getting ahead of myself, but when a man has a Gary moment, when he realizes the woman he wants is out of his reach, after trying all the wrong things he was taught about women, he experiences a rage. Yes. Now, if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you've heard me say this dozens of times, that entertainment media is more than just entertainment. It's propaganda through art. The stories aren't often real, but the messages behind the stories always are. That for good or bad, better or worse, it's all designed to influence our minds. That the stories that you're watching are based on lived experience. And I believe The Last American Virgin is one of those films. It's a brutally honest story about the nature of women, experienced through the perspective of a naive, love-struck teenage boy. And it influenced me for the better, so much so that I believe it, as well as The Learning Tree, are films that every young man should watch and study. There are some valuable life lessons to be learned by each film.
That is so true. There are life lessons in there, and we'll be going through those right there. That starts this.
That can save him from rage. Now, I've already done a breakdown of The Learning Tree. I'll post the link,
which we'll be talking about in a little bit after as well too,
in the description. But getting back to The Last American Virgin, I say all these things because the film saved me from rage. I've never been used or abused by a woman I've dated.
I have. I'm not gonna say I have not. I abused, no. Used, yes.
Nor have I been rejected by any woman that I've wanted.
One, but that was such a nice person that it didn't feel bad to me, and I respect the person to this day. We don't, so yeah, that. But the used, yes, I have been used very badly, not really, but enough to be like,
And that's not because I'm some uber attractive, genetically gifted alpha male. I'm just an average looking guy. It's only because of the lessons I've learned from this movie that those things haven't occurred. Now, those that have seen the film know what I'm talking about, but for those who haven't or have not seen it for a long time, let's do a quick breakdown. Chapter 1. So, The Last American Virgin is a story of love and heartbreak. It's about a high school kid named Gary who falls in love with a new girl named Karen, who unfortunately falls in love with his best friend Rick. And the thing about Rick is that he's a coos hound. He is not a guy that values women at all, he just uses them. And there's also a guy named Dave, who's best friends with both Rick and Gary, who tries to play the role of the mediator between the two. If you could categorize their personalities, and I hate to use this type of nomenclature, but I guess you can say Rick is an alpha, Gary is a beta, and Dave is what we now call this sigma thing. I don't know much about it, but I'm just giving a rough estimation of their personalities. So the story starts off in a small town with Gary noticing Karen for the first time. And from jump, we see that he's smitten with her. You could almost say that it's love at first sight, the way he just leers at her. Then Gary asks the shop tender if he knows her, and he responds by saying, "I've never seen her before in my life." Then afterwards, Gary goes and sits with his buddies, Rick and Dave, who are fixated on 3 other girls, whom they've heard were, quote, easy. Now, the reason why all this is important is because the director wants us to know that Karen is the new girl. She's fresh, she's untouched. She doesn't have the reputation of the other girls in town. It is also important to note that Rick likely saw Karen first, as he was in the parlor before Gary arrived, but he did not notice her. Because remember, Rick is a coos hound. He only fixates on the easy bet. And
again, this also works on the women's side to let you know why women go towards the 1%. Why women go to these kind of guys that you see there. He's a bad guy. He's a guy who don't care. But because of what he is, women love that. That's what it is.
So while Karen was sitting at the counter alone, Rick was looking at the other girls. But Gary isn't so interested. He's already decided that Karen is the one girl for him. So you see the contrast here. We're already seeing the difference between the character traits of a Gary and a Rick. Gary prioritizes women, Rick doesn't. To him, they're just objects. So after Dave goes over and invites the 3 easy girls over to Gary and Rick's table, they have a short conversation with the trio. And it ends with them inviting them back to Gary's place for some adult activities as well as narcotics. And remember, these girls just met these guys. They barely know their names, yet they're going back to their house. Again, showing the contrast between the normal girls in the town and Karen.
And y'all, this is a nomenclature that's happening now. This is why I said about the show last week. A lot of girls now are becoming more promiscuous, more whatever. I would tell ladies, hold out for the right guy. Just seriously, because do not let these other women think, oh, girl power this and be all. No, that is not good. And then when y'all, because it's so many times you see, this is where the manosphere or the red pill people get all this energy from. And you remember, like, I have 3 kids by 2 different dads, and you want a man that makes $100,000. On the prize?
You serious?
No, it's not gonna happen, sweetheart.
Who Gary believes is pure, innocent, and untouched, even though he doesn't know what she was into before she came to town. Thus the title of the film, The Last American Virgin. So now we're on to chapter 2, and by the way, I did skip what happened at the house. And the reason why I did that is because it doesn't apply to this current video essay. So in chapter 2, Gary finds out where Karen lives. How he did, I don't know. But he goes by her house and he flattens her bike tires, which allows him to give her a ride to school. And when they arrive at school,
which is creepy as hell. Dude, what the heck is your problem? But again, that's what happened.
Gary then asks Karen out on a date because he wants her to go to a party. But Karen says she can't because she's busy. Now she's lying, and we'll see why in a moment, but Gary persists. He then asks, does she have a boyfriend? But she doesn't answer that question, she just runs off. So right away, we see that Karen isn't totally evil. Clearly, she understands that Gary is trying to date her, but she lets him down gently. But we also see Gary's obsession. Somehow, he finds out where she lives. Then he sabotages her bike tires. You know, in today's world, we would call that stalking. And just moments after meeting her, he's trying to nice his way into that relationship. He's trying to win her heart through favors. Remember what I mentioned earlier, how men from youth are taught to cater and bribe a woman for affection. And we also see that Karen is learning very early that Gary is someone she can use, because she recognized him from the ice cream parlor when he was creepily staring at her, and she knew then that he was smitten by her. Now we move on to chapter 3. With Gary arriving at the party he mentioned to Karen, the same party that she said she was too busy to attend. Remember how I told you earlier she was lying when he asked her out? But here she is, and surprise, surprise, she's dancing with Rick. Now Gary is immediately distraught because he knows what that means. But Dave, being the good friend that he is, immediately lets Gary know, hey, Rick has got her, bro. Forget about her. He's going to close the deal. The best you can do is hope to have sloppy seconds. So as Gary and Dave are talking, Rick and Karen come over. Now Rick doesn't know that Karen already knows Gary, but of course Karen does, and she plays dumb.
And see, that kind of stuff builds up for some range because you're playing games. Now, I will say this. Gary, and again, this is based on a true story, so know that, because you'll see, I'll pull a point at the end of the video. But Gary should have taken the hint. If that was me, I'm like, okay, she don't want me. She's doing this. She's playing this game. I run away. Now, I will state this while going further in the story. Sometimes there's some men who cause their own red pill rage. There's some men who do that. That's why in the manosphere and the red pill, people call them simping and simps and all that stuff like that. Yes. Sometimes you cause your own rage because you want to take off the blinders. She doesn't want you. Leave her alone and try something else. That's what would be my advice to many men out there. Sometimes the women ain't worth the squeeze. And Karen, she's a virgin. She's nice or whatever. I get it. But she lied to you. She told you all this, and that goes for women too, and women to men. If he lies to you and do all this stuff, why keep dating him?
No, son of a bitch!
You don't date him. Exactly. That's what you're supposed. No. Answer is no. But let's continue.
She expresses no remorse over lying to Gary about not being able to come to the party. But Karen tries to make it up by introducing Gary to her friend Rose. And Rose likes Gary. She's ready to link up with him right away. And Rose isn't a easy girl because Gary blows her off to go chase after Karen. And moments later, Dave tries to make a pass at Rose, and Rose rejects him right away. So she's not the type of girl that would go with
Which
any
is
guy.
good.
But Gary can't see Rose. He's still obsessed with Karen,
Even
though Rick has already got her. And he knows that Rick is going to do what he does with girls. Gary still believes he has a chance. And in the next scene, we see him follow her into the bathroom, still trying to take his shot, even though he knows it's over. So in this chapter, we know that Karen has no eyes for Gary. She's all in for Rick. That this is the second time she's rejected him, and that she's even going as far as to set him up with her best friend. And we also see the wisdom of Dave. He sees Gary, who's his best friend, headed down the wrong path. And he warns him to let it go. This won't end well for him, as well as try to keep peace between his best friends. So in chapter 4, Gary's at work. He delivers pizzas on the side. And while he's at work, he comes across a bored housewife that attempts to seduce him. But Gary only has eyes for Karen. He rejects her offer, and he calls over Rick and Dave instead. Now I can't show it, but Rick and Dave run the choo-choo while Gary watches. Now
that's creepy as heck. But again, I get the story how he's doing it.
The reason why I'm discussing this scene is because this is the third time that Gary has turned down intercourse. First, it was at the 3 girls he met at the ice cream parlor. Then it was with Rose. Now it's with this bored housewife. All because he's faithful to Karen, who's Rick's girlfriend, even though Rick right here is clearly cheating on her. So again,
Exactly.
See the contrast between Rick and Gary in regards to Karen. In chapter 5, Gary and Rick go on a double date with Karen and Rose. They go to a secluded area where teenagers go to do the do. Now Rose climbs in the front seat with Gary so Rick can be in the back seat with Karen. And Rose is ready to get it on, but Gary is still focused on Karen, even with Rose coming on to him. But it looks like Rick and Karen are going to consummate, so Gary decides to begrudgingly carry on with Rose. But there's a mishap. Somehow the car shifts out of park, crashing in the water and disrupting Rick's plans to get Karen's cookies. Chapter 6. Now even after the mishap at the beach, Rick is not deterred. Later he approaches Gary and asks him for the keys to his grandparents' house so he can close things out with Karen. But Gary decides to hate on Rick. He blocks him. He doesn't give him the keys. In fact,
Which I can understand that. That part I can understand. I get that one. That makes sense to me in that regard. Totally.
In fact, he tries to distract Rick from Karen. The three of them go to see a lady of the evening, and it works for a night, but eventually Rick does get Karen alone, and he pierces her sacred flower, all while Gary wanders around town looking for them. Now this was a very odd sequence of scenes for me because Rick and Karen are somewhere ready to do the do and Gary is looking for them. And my question was, what was he going to do if he found them?
Exactly.
Was he going to try to pull off Rick mid-stroke? And again, shout out to Dave. He knew Rick and Karen were going to consummate and he knew that Gary would try to stop them. And so when Gary came looking for them, he lied about where they were to keep the peace. Again, you see him trying to keep the brotherhood together. He doesn't want a girl that Rick doesn't care about, a girl that Gary shouldn't care about, to break up the brotherhood.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it doesn't work. Chapter 7. Gary goes back to the ice cream parlor where Karen left her bike, knowing eventually her and Rick will return from wherever they were. And Rick, who's unaware of Gary's feelings for Karen, comes over to brag about being the first to violate Karen's sacred place. Now, Gary is in denial initially. He wants to pretend that Rick is lying, but he knows Rick's reputation, and Rick doesn't lie about these things. But when Karen comes over, he can smell the badussi on her, and he hops up and storms off and gets in his car and drives away. So now we're on to chapter 8. A couple of weeks later, Gary walks into the library when he sees Rick and Karen arguing, and it ends with Karen storming off in tears after Rick shoos her away. And that's when Gary transforms into Captain Save and runs after her. And it's at...
Now, man, I'll tell you this. This is where you should not be again. You put yourself in a situation to get red rail page if you do this. Don't be no Captain Save. That's why you saw the video. I put the video at the beginning. I put up. I said, yeah. I myself came close to that. And I'm like, heck no. No. To the nah. To the nah. No.
No, son of a bitch!
Okay? No.
At that moment that she tells him she's pregnant. But Gary tells her, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it.
We'll take care of it? Whoa, homie, whoa. What? She's pregnant by a dude who didn't give a care about her, and you're gonna try to be kept. I wish I had a clip from from Bishop. If Jesus can't save these hoes, why do you think you can?
Then Gary adjusts his cape and goes back into the library to confront Rick for mistreating Karen. But Rick balks at Gary and says he doesn't know if he's the father, which angers Gary even further because this is the same Rick that bragged about taking her virginity. And now he's claiming that he doesn't know who the father is, which of course insults her honor as a woman. Now all of this sets Gary off and the two of them begin to fight.
With the price of just
The answer will be no, we're not doing that. We're not saving that.
In the very next scene, he goes off with a group of friends on a ski trip where we already see him with a new girl, while Gary, who was also supposed to go on the trip with them, stays behind to clean up Rick's mess.
So he's already gone, and again, so here's the thing. She knows the guy's a
You piece of loser.
So she knows that now, because he don't want to take responsibility for the child.
So yeah, Gary is still faithful to Rick's girlfriend while she's pregnant with Rick's baby. Chapter 9. In the next scene,
weird.
Gary takes Karen to the clinic to terminate her pregnancy. Now, he doesn't have the money to pay for it, but he hustles. He steals from his grandparents, pawns their stereo system, and he borrows the remaining funds from his boss.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What is that?
That's not your responsibility, bruh. That's not your responsibility. Why would you do that? In no way in third heavens would I do that. That is crazy. But here's the part that's going to hurt people. So Rick now put himself in a lot of situation. But he's thinking now he's on high heaven. He's on cloud 9, cause hey, she see that the guy was a jerk. She see that he don't want to be nothing, and Rick's like, yes, I'm in it. I'm in now. You gonna be my girlfriend? Yeah.
Then he takes Karen back to his grandparents' home to convalesce. Now, while she's convalescing at Gary's grandparents' home, Gary asks her if she misses anyone who went on the ski trip. In other words, he's trying to see if she still has feelings for Rick. And Karen says no. And it's at that moment that he confesses his love for Karen. And the two of them embrace and make out. But that's it, nothing further. Chapter 10.
So you see, you teased the young man in that.
At this point, Gary is on cloud 9.
Yep.
He's bouncing around with a pep in his step because he finally got the girl. He got to kiss Karen. Yeah, she rejected him several times. She gave up her virginity to
Dr. Boyce Watkins, you crazy loon. If you don't know who that, you Google Dr. Boyce Watkins. That's literally this what happened here is what happened to Dr. Boyce Watkins. The difference is, well, like I said, he married the woman, even though she rejected him, have kids with other men, and all that stuff later on. Yeah, that would never be me. Sorry. Well, I can't be me. I'm married to a woman who don't have kids.
To the biggest scumbag in the school, got pregnant, which forced him to steal, beg, and borrow to conceal what happened.
Exactly.
But she kissed him and he's feeling good. He even goes by the local jewelry shop to pick out an amulet for Karen's birthday. Chapter 11, Karen's birthday party. Now Gary is still feeling good. He can't wait to give Karen her gift. He asks where she is. He finds out she's in the kitchen, and he goes into the kitchen, and that's where he finds her. That's where he sees them. Karen and Rick back together in a full embrace making out.
She belongs to the streets.
After
Wow, what a waste. The poor children.
everything Gary did for her, she went back to the scumbag who dogged her out. And the movie ends with Gary running out of the house, getting back in his car, and crying over losing Karen again. And that's where the movie ends. So yeah, it's a...
Yeah. And that right there creates a red pill rage situation. Now the difference I would say in this one, we'll go to the other one, but the difference I say in this one is the dude put most of the problem. This is a 50-50, and both sides could have stopped this. When she was not looking, whatever, Gary could have just like, you know what, let it be, move along. But he was obsessed. And she gained that, oh, Rick is the guy that all the girls want, and messing with, he knows that Rick likes her, even though you can say, he confessed to her love for her. The first part, he should have leave her, but now that he saved her from being embarrassed and all that stuff, and he confessed to her, but what she did, right back and kissed and to the dude who treated her like crap.
Powerful story. And now you see why I gave this movie such a long introduction and give it so much credit for saving me from a pure rage. Because I saw this movie initially when I was a preteen, right as I was entering the era of raging hormones. And it taught me two things. Number one, don't be a Gary. And number two, don't go after women like Karen. There's an old saying, only a fool doesn't learn from his mistakes. But I say it takes a bigger fool not to learn from the mistakes of others.
No, that's what it says. Smart person learn from mistake. A wise person learn from other people's mistakes. And that's what it is.
Watching Gary make the wrong move after wrong move after wrong move, trying to force a relationship that wasn't there, all while rejecting one with a girl that was there, taught me to never worry about the ones you can't get, only focus on the ones that you can. The entire time Gary was pursuing Karen, he overlooked Rose. Ironically, he was doing to Rose what Karen was doing to him. Number two, stay away from women like Karen. Gary never had a chance with Karen because he wasn't Karen's type. Gary was a good guy, a soft guy, and Karen was into bad boys. That's why she liked Rick, and that's why Gary, in spite of everything he did for her, never got Karen. Why Rick, in spite of everything he didn't do for Karen, got her anyway. And why, in spite of what many of us were taught as boys, you can't nice your way into a relationship. You can't bribe a woman into being your girlfriend. There's nothing Gary could have done to change Karen's mind. So I've applied all of these principles to my actual life. For example, I've never been a victim of a foodie call or had a woman use
that. I never have been, because I know what it is. I always set that aside. Most people would say, yeah, but I'd be like, not really. Because I already known that if I want to do the first date or whatever, $100. I ain't going to front, but I'm not going no higher than $100. The same thing I did to get my wife. I get no more than $100. Nope, 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 and nope.
Me for money or favors. And that's the reason why I've never experienced the rage. If I see a woman and I like her, I make a pass at her. If she responds, I pursue. If she shows no initial interest, I leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
I don't try to change her mind.
Exactly,
now, if I meet a woman and she does show interest, but she already has a boyfriend or she has a lot of guy friends, again, I back off. Because that's a woman who can't make her mind up.
Oh,
that's
she has
a woman
options.
trying to add talent to her friend zone.
Exactly.
Or surround herself with options.
Exactly.
And I'm not Gary. I don't believe in competing for a woman's affection. Either she wants me or she doesn't. It's a binary decision. I go after the ones that respond to me and never sweat the ones who don't. Now, this isn't relationship advice. I'm just telling you the way that I move and how
But it's common sense though. That's what it is. It's not relationship advice. It's just for young men. This is what you need to understand. Do not let women try to drag you out to do certain things. But also, do not become the evil that you try to be. You try to get away from. Because again, I talked about it a little just a second ago, but we'll see.
Watching Gary fail saved me a lot of grief. Now, I know the tradition says if you like a woman, you ask her out on a date. You use the date as an opportunity to get to know her. And as a woman, if you have no interest in a man, you don't accept the date. But that tradition died out with Generation X. Women have long broken that social contract. Modern women use men like Gary for the suckers they are, and without guilt, remorse, or shame. Karen never felt bad for how she played Gary. She never felt sorry for him because she got what she wanted. Again, that's why I never understand these videos that are so popular on social media where you have these modern day Garys taking women they don't know out on dates and get offended when the woman doesn't want to put out. Or these other modern day Garys who fly women out they barely know and get mad when that woman doesn't want to reciprocate. And I'm like, nah, bro, because dates, vacations, gifts, favors are for wives and girlfriends only.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen.
Not women you don't know. Unless you're dealing with a professional, you can't pay or bribe your way into a woman's pants. Trying to do that is a Gary move, and you're setting yourself up to be used. Again, this is not relationship advice. This is just how I do things, based on watching Gary fail. That's what I learned from The Last American Virgin, and that's why it saved me a ton of grief. Now, some of you are saying, oh, this is just a movie. Well, no, it's not. In an interview you can find here on YouTube, actress Diane Franklin, who played Karen, admitted that the movie is based on a true story, something that the writer-director Boaz Davidson experienced himself.
Obviously this story happened, it's a true story, happened to the director. So it's a real story, and he showed it to the actual Karen, who's, it wasn't her real name, Karen, but he showed it to her, and she supposedly burst into tears. So
So it's more than just a movie, it's a cautionary tale. One that I believe that every young man should watch and learn from. I did, and it saved me a lot of heartache. I've never been a Gary because I've seen Gary be Gary. And as a matter of fact, when you really think about it, he's the real villain of the movie.
Yeah, and that's what I want to go to. I'm not, in this situation, in this red pill range, he caused a problem to himself. So, yes, I'm sorry. This one right here, Gary's the one who caused the problem. He got to take L. Now, yes, he had a lot of help by Karen. A lot of help.
The first time I saw the film, I was mad at Karen, I was mad at Rick. But a part of being an adult is understanding that neither of them did anything wrong. Gary was being a creep, one of those psycho simps that wouldn't take no for an answer. Remember when he was stalking her in the beginning of the movie? How he was staring at her and how he followed her into the bathroom? And even after all of that, she kept letting him down gently 3 times, but he kept on bugging her. The moment he saw her at the party dancing with Rick is the moment he should have written her off. And that's another thing I want to point out. Rick did not take Karen from Gary. Karen never belonged to Gary. She never wanted him. But also because he knows the type of girls that Rick deals with. And if she's with him, that's an indicator of her character. It should have told him that she's no good. He believed that she was innocent and pure. Those were his imaginations, and he superimposed those onto her. But that's not the girl that she portrayed herself to be at any point. So Gary asked for all of this. Now, in the end, she did use him, but he offered. She didn't come running to him, he ran to her. He put himself in a position to be used, and she was in a bind. So you can't blame her for taking advantage of an all-day sucker. Now, that's all I have to say about it.
And that's why I say, but you do feel for Gary because because in a regard, you got used, and you got used in the most disrespectful way of you got to go find money, find this, do all this stuff just to get this girl approval. And you proved to her that. That's why I disagree a little bit with him. I agree with him that Gary is the problem. He was the problem. But you proved to her with all that, and you told her, I love you. And she still went back to do it because you know what? Because she got what she wanted out of you. And that's why I say it caused that problem. Let's go into another Let's go into another video quickly so we can have this. Now this is a different story, another true story as well too.
Of a movie that I saw about 25 to 30 years ago called The Learning Tree. And The Learning Tree is a movie set in a small farming community in the early 1920s of Kansas. It's centered around a group of black teenagers born at the turn of the century. These kids were the grandchildren of blacks who were born into slavery. So they were born free, as were their parents, but their grandparents were born as slaves. And it causes them to have a different worldview than their grandparents and even their parents. So they're nothing like their grandparents who were conditioned to be subservient to whites, nor their parents who were raised to be the same way, because they have no concept of being oppressed or being a slave. So they don't see themselves as being future field hands, nannies, and maids. They don't see themselves as being lesser than their white contemporaries. They see themselves as being equals. And it was their generation that started the first wave of the black civil rights movement. And so they have a rebellious streak in them, which puts them in direct conflict with the older whites that live in that town, because they too remember what life was like when black people were slaves, how they were obedient and subservient, and they expect these younger black teenagers to be the same way. So in the middle of all this tension, the story focuses on a young man named Newt, who's the main character of the film, that was played by Kyle Johnson, who I just discovered recently is the son of Nichelle Nichols, the black actress of Star Trek fame. So Newt is about 14 or 15 years old, and he's a second-born son of a farmer and a housemaid. He's smart, kind, soft-spoken, and he's a very well-mannered Christian boy who's naturally curious and respectful of women. He works hard at school, has ambition, and one day wants to go to college. He's everything that any man or woman would want in a son.
In a son, and also in a boyfriend, and also in a husband. Because those are great qualities.
And he's coming of age. In fact, he falls in love with this young, beautiful girl named Arcella that he met at church one day. And she's about the same age as Newt, maybe a little bit younger. And he meets her on one Sunday service when her and her family introduced themselves to the community, which was the tradition in the Old South. And our
yeah, still tradition to this day in most places.
Marcella is very much like Newt. Her parents instilled traditional values in her, so she's sweet, fit, feminine, and submissive, does well at school, minds her parents. She has all the characteristics of being a good girl, and a virgin like Newt. And when Newt sees her, he is immediately heartstruck. He falls in love with her at first sight.
You feel pretty good for a boy who just got hurt in a storm.
That Jefferson family looks real nice.
Oh, so that's it.
And the two of them eventually start dating. They go to church together. They attend cookouts together. They go to the movies. He's hanging out with her family. She's hanging out with his family. She comes over for Christmas. He buys her nice gifts. For about a year, this is going on. And they bond emotionally. Newt genuinely likes her. He isn't pursuing her for sex. He really wants a relationship with her, as does she. So everything is going great. They look like a future married couple. Until Chauncey shows up. Chauncey is the white, spoiled son of a wealthy doctor. He's in his early to mid-20s, doesn't appear to work. He spends the majority of his time partying, drinking, sleeping in late, and having sex with random women. He shows all of the signs of being a bad boy, a deadbeat, a slacker, and a loser. But he's handsome, and he has access to his daddy's money. And he's living in a community full of poor and working class people, so that makes him a god. So one day, Arcella catches the eye of Chauncey. Remember, Arcella is Newt's girlfriend. They've been dating for about a year. Their families know each other. They go to the same church. He's been buying her gifts and doing nice things for her for about a year. And Chauncey knows Newt. You see, Newt's mother is Chauncey's housekeeper / surrogate mother. Chauncey's father, who's a doctor, appears to be a widower. And he loves Newt's mom as if she's his second wife, minus the intimate stuff. And Chauncey respects Newt's mother as if she is his own mom. So they're kind of like brothers, in a sense. So one day, Newt was walking Arcella home one day from school, like he always does, and Chauncey sees him, so he drives over, flexing. Keep in mind, this is the 1920s. Most white people don't have vehicles, let alone luxury convertibles. So he's really putting on a show for Arcella. And he offers the both of them a ride home. But first he wants to stop by the local drugstore to get some soft drinks, which is a major flex because for most of you who don't know, the drugstore back in that day was like a major hangout. It was more like a diner or a bar. And it's a place where you took your date. And in this part of town, this is where the young white adults and teenagers hang out. But also remember, this is the 1920s South. So there's a lot of segregation going on. So no blacks are allowed in the drugstore.
There's a reason why I'm not really. I want you to pull this story in because again, with Gary, I could figure out stuff. But listen to this story, and there's a lot of time I didn't want to interrupt it. But yeah.
But Chauncey is confident that he can get them in the drugstore because they're with him. Now Newt has a lot of common sense. He's hesitant. He doesn't want to go to a segregated drugstore because he doesn't want to get into trouble. But more importantly, he knows Chauncey. He knows Chauncey's reputation with women. And he's pretty sure his intentions is to get at Arcella. He's not just offering him a ride home to be a nice guy. And he also notices that Arcella looks to be attracted to Chauncey. And Newt can sense that. So at first, Newt kind of says no, but Arcella coaxes Newt into saying yes, and they go. So they get to the drugstore, and that's when Chauncey puts on the charm. He butters up Arcella, gets her comfortable with being around him, flirts with her openly in front of Newt.
Well, you never told me where you found this pretty girl, Newt.
What's preventing me from befriending him?
She's been around for quite a while now.
He didn't just find me. We met.
Oh, I see. We just met. Well.
But things get a little bit chippy in the drugstore. The white patrons and the owner don't like Newt and Arcella being there, and they leave. But the next day, Newt gets...
Which should have been a wake-up call, but again...
in trouble and has to stay after school to meet with the principal. So he can't walk Arcella home. But Chauncey's there, and he offers Arcella a ride home. And while this is going on, Newt looks out of the principal's window just in time to see Arcella getting into Chauncey's car. And you can read the expression on Newt's face because he knows exactly what that means. Again, he knows Chauncey's reputation. He knows what it means when he sees a girl getting into Chauncey's car. But nevertheless, Newt, being the nice guy that he is, keeps the faith. After getting out of school, he walks over to Arcella's house, hoping what he thought had happened didn't happen. But it did, because Arcella is not home. He knocks on the door, her mother answers, and she says, "I thought Arcella was with you." But Newt, being the nice guy that he is, says, "No, I had to stay late after school and she mentioned going to the library." That's a lie. He covers for her.
That's the only negative part, that is, but if you did not know stuff, I get what you're saying, because he didn't want to get her in trouble. So, yeah.
Knows she's with Chauncey. But, of course, he doesn't tell her mother that. So as he's leaving, he sees Arcella coming around the corner. Chauncey didn't even have the decency to drop her off. She had to walk home. And when he says hello to her, she's acting cold and despondent, which is odd because she normally loves being around Newt. He asks her if she wants to hang out later, and she says, "Nah, I just got some work to do." He then asks her if she wants to go to the show later in the week, and still she says no. And keep in mind, her clothes aren't tattered or disheveled, so it's not like she was assaulted or anything. She's just being cold towards Newt. So a few weeks pass, and Arcella ends up getting pregnant. And immediately Newt's parents, as well as Arcella's parents, assume that he's the father because he's the only boy they've seen Arcella hang around. Remember, she's only known Chauncey for a couple of days. She's been hanging around Newt for a
whole year.
And Arcella is a good girl. She could not possibly be pregnant by a guy she barely knows, could she? So Newt explains to his parents that there's no way he could be the father, that he didn't do what they think he did with Arcella. And so Newt's parents decide to go over to Arcella's house to figure out what's going on. And things pick up with them being in Arcella's room, where her parents are interrogating her on who the father of the baby is. And of course, she tells him it's Chauncey. And Newt is sick to his stomach. You could see the pain on his face. Now, some other things happen in the movie, but shortly after this scene, at about 20 or 30 minutes, the movie ends. But yeah, you could see the pain to Arcella's house to figure out what's going on. And things pick up with them being in Arcella's room, where her parents are interrogating her on who the father of the baby is. And of course, she tells him it's Chauncey. And Newt is sick to his stomach. You could see the pain on his face. Now, some other things happen in the movie, but shortly after this scene, at about 20 or 30 minutes, the movie ends. But yeah, there was a powerful lesson to be learned from watching that movie. At least I did as a kid. I learned that nothing that Newt did for her mattered. Dating her for a year, respecting her, buying her things, doing things for her, treating her well, it did not matter. She gave all that up. She threw it all away for Chauncey, a boy that did none of those things for her. Yet, she gave him her virginity, her honor, and her womb. He only saw her as another notch on his belt. And it didn't matter how well Newt treated her. She was more attracted to Chauncey, which goes back to the article I referenced at the top of the video. Women are more likely to take risks with men they are really attracted to, but only for that guy. And if you're not that guy, there's no amount of nice, favors, or respect you can show her. And that's why Newt did everything he did for a year and got nothing. And while Chauncey did nothing and got everything he wanted in a short amount of time. So the moral of the story is, only focus on the woman that wants you, not one that you have to convince to like you. Even if she gives you her time, her eyes are always open and she's looking for the better deal. And she'll trade you in once she finds her Chauncey. And Chauncey won't have to do anything to get her, including treating her right. So if you like this video,
and again, I did put the beginning part of it. This is also the writer director. Also, this is a truth. He told the story because that's what happened to him. So that situation is like, really, it is crazy. Let me see. I want to get something. It is crazy how that is. Okay. I want to end it with a joke, so I'll end it with a joke. I'll end it with a joke and not something serious. But let's go back to let me put it back to the main screen so I can tell my story and then we can call it a night. So that's what I'm talking about. In that situation Newt did everything right. He lied a little bit because he had hoped that she would not be that stupid. But he lied. He did everything right. He respected her. He did everything right. But Chauncey, because he has this blings and stuff like that, yeah, that's why when Sean Head was talking to Breaking Point, I was talking about, oh, we're not, jobs are not getting, there are not enough jobs, men are not going to college and all this stuff. And again, I say you should not go to college. Get yourself a good job worker. I know people who are AC people, who are plumbers and stuff, they make $100,000 and plus. Okay, I know that. In that regard, technically speaking, my house, I had to work 17 years to get where I'm at, but I got there. Plus do music and everything else. But you had to work for it. But when she was saying, "Oh, you gotta have money," and that's what these women want, that's what you always hear when women say, "Oh, I want," which I'll play that before, then I leave it a joke. But playing 100,000, oh, I want a man that's worth 100,000 for what? What do you have that makes me think I should give you $100,000 of my worth? And it's always funny when I see a lot of women who makes $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 up that way, and say that, oh, I want a man who makes $100,000. Okay, so if that's the case, then you combine your $100,000 with your $60,000 or $50,000 worth, and we can make good money. No, she don't want to do that. If she makes $100,000, it's her money. If you make $100,000, it's her money. And to men, you don't have to be red pill rage or negative. That's your cue to exit left. Okay? That's what that means. If she wants to do that, why waste your time? Do not be like Gary to get hurt like Gary did. If she wants that, that's why when Ebony Williams said, well, I'm the bus driver and all this stuff, I don't care. That's her preference. I didn't like how she tried to down-tone black men. That's the part I had a problem with. But that's her preference. That's why at this age of 40 years old that she's at, she can't fight. She can't date nobody. She's an attractive woman. I'm not denying that. But that, again, the attitude is what blocked her from getting what she needs to get you. Now she's been mothered by choice by having all this going to have to be a single mom, which she's a smart woman. But here's the funny part. Her biological needs is overthinking her smartness that she thinks she has, because she should know. Yeah, the last 60 years, what has single mothership done for the black community? Cause more pain, suffering, and hurt. Okay? Now she has money, but money does not cover not having a father figure in a lifetime. I have been around a lot of kids, and I've also done videos showing this, of women who saying, oh, the son will be like, oh, dad, because dad wasn't there. They didn't say, hey, where's the money, whatever. They said dad wasn't there. But of course, that was a choice taken out of their hands of the kids because mom and dad couldn't get together. There are deadbeat dads out there. There are horrible guys out there. I don't get excuses for them. But there's a lot of guys out there who are fighting to be in their child's lives. And the court system and like I said, that'll be a different part of the story. I can do that, but I don't waste the time. Because there's this they try to be in the children's life. They gotta change laws. Shout out to a guy in Florida in what was the? You know what? Let me see. Give me a second here. I just wanna see if they will come up. It will come up for me. Just in case. Let's see. This guy did what is it? He fought and he won against the law. yeah, I don't got it. But he wanted to be in his child's life, and they didn't want to give him his child because the mother just packed up and went away, even though he was paying child support, being in the child's life for so long, but he had no outright to the child. That's a problem. That's a big, big problem. I have a problem with that. But that is something that some of the laws are changing, as we saw. Down in Florida, you can't have an attorney. In Tennessee, thank goodness, in Tennessee, they didn't. How should I say this? In Tennessee, yeah, the paternity test is now that we need to have paternity tests, because it just needs to be, because a lot of kids are being taken care of by people who are not their biological fathers. I'm sorry, you should not be paying for a child that's not yours. That's unfair to me. That's definitely unfair to me. If I gotta pay for stuff that you did, that's crazy. But I forgot. I forgot the state that he did it. That's what I'm trying to find. That's why I think it's a law. I know it hurts a lot of people. It really does. But I'm sorry, when you do certain things and just like, I think I found it. Okay, good. I did found it. That's what I said. This will cause, and then this is another form of red pill page. That's the problem. This is another form of red pill rage. There's many forms. Again, not all of it is something I was stated that, but I just want to give this one. This is a short video here, so I want to play this before I get into that.
The law on their side because of it.
Our story, our I-team is following through on a bill that passed the House and the Senate unanimously, called the Good Dad Act, is now signed into law.
And the focus is fathers' rights. Last month, we brought you the story of Ulysses Carwise. He's a Tampa father who's been fighting for custody of his now 5-year-old daughter. She was given up for adoption at birth by her mother without the dad's knowledge or consent. And his case is highlighting an often private battle unmarried fathers can face.
Yeah, when I saw your story online, it just resonated to me how this hurt from this father who lost his child due to a decision that was not his.
Tonight, I-team investigator Kylie McGivern shares how another Florida father's story prompted a change in state law that will impact unmarried fathers across Florida.
Snapshots of Bernard Jennings with his son capturing memories, moments Jennings says he had to fight to keep.
My son's 8 years old now. I didn't become his father legally until January 9th of this year. Really?
Ethan is the motivation behind what's being called the Good Dad Act.
At the time, I was a single father, unwed to the mother. We were in a relationship, we broke up, and I took care of my son primarily most of the time for 7 years.
Then Jennings says his child's mother picked him up from school and moved him to another county.
I went to the courts asking for help. I didn't know where she was. All of a sudden, her family didn't know where she was.
And that has happened. One of my best friends in life, that situation where he just talked right there happened to him.
Friends didn't know where she was, so I had to find my son.
Because he is not married to his son's mother legally.
And my friend was married, but she still did this anyway.
Jennings had no parental rights.
My name's on the birth certificate. I've been a part of his life since birth. I was there at the birth, but because she decided she was no longer going to cooperate with me, the law was not on my side anymore. The judge said that I had to serve her a petition for.
And that's why I've said another phrase. If nobody has said it, and I for what I've said, I've told it before. Men are a-holes. They got. It's just the thing. We do stupid stuff. We do stuff to hurt people, but women are vindictive. And I know it's like negative, but both negatives. Bet you she used that to get whatever. Because again, my best friend, I know what happened, and it's just that it hurt me. Wasn't even that, and that kind of like taught me, wow, let me not crazy with that situation. Thank God he's still staying in that girl's life, and that girl looks up to him as his dad. The last time I saw him and her together, they were cool. They were great. The daughter was like, just like, hey, daddy, this, whatever. And I was like, oh, and I was like, man, she's a spitting image of my friend's mom. So ain't no if, ands, or but. That is his child because she looks just like a younger version of his mother, like straight up. I would like, if I saw her, I'll say, I'll tell him that's your mom, that's your sister. Jeez. But anyway.
Wow. I got to pause it for a second there because listen to what they just said right there. The man's name was on the birth certificate. He was actively involved on a daily basis in the child's life.
Yep.
And simply because the mother decided she did not want to cooperate with him anymore, you know, just kind of take it upon herself and decide that a son doesn't need a good dad and hold on to whatever animosity she still has towards the father, basically decide that you are going to exponentially increase the odds that your son does not become a productive member of society. Instead, he becomes a liability. Instead, you take it upon yourself to increase the chances that that young boy goes into a man who ends up a part of the prison system, because statistically, that's what single mothers have been shown to produce. Now, the hypocrisy about this whole situation that many men face when it comes to deal with the judicial system is that man's name is on the birth certificate, he is liable for paying child support, even if it turns out that he is not the child's father biologically. Because his name is on the birth certificate, he's responsible and has to front the bill. So the level of inequality that has been disproportionately placed at men's doorsteps, simply because we have a system that has consistently demonstrated that they're less concerned about doing what's actually best for the child and far more concerned about doing what's best for their financial bottom line.
Parenting.
Yes.
And I didn't know where she was to be able to serve her. Finally, I was able to serve her where she lived by finding out where she lived and be able to get time in court to establish visitation rights. But I thought to myself that so many fathers go through this and they don't have the resources or no people to assist them in the matter.
Exactly.
Don't have the money, and they're stuck.
That's when Jennings, who is president and CEO of the Biscayne Gardens Chamber of Commerce, wrote a proposal to lawmakers for a bill regarding unwed fathers' rights. Representative Christopher Benjamin picked it up.
What this bill does is it says to fathers who want to be fathers, want to parent their children, that we see you. It gives them the right that we have given married fathers our entire existence. It lets them parent until there's a problem.
And I will say this, yes, it makes it less a problem if you are married to the woman. I know that, but I told you about my story with my friend. He was married, so it still happens. But the law is a step to the right place. That's what I like about it. It's a step to the right conjecture. Because there again, I told you the story about the man who was married, and 6 of his kids was not his. All 6 kids that he thought he had with his wife cheated. All 6 of them was not his.
It's about time that we realize the reality of the family makeup in American society, and the fact that there are a lot of fathers who are not married or no longer married to the mothers of their children, and they are still great fathers.
The bill gives unmarried fathers who have proven they are the biological fathers
proven, I like
rights
that,
and responsibilities the mother has.
Exactly.
It passed the House and Senate unanimously.
Good. Awesome.
Both parents are the natural guardians of the child, and both have the same rights and responsibilities of parents that a married parent would enjoy.
Senator Clay Yarborough sponsored the Senate bill.
I'm a Republican in the Senate. My colleague who ran it in the House is a Democrat. It's just good common sense, and we want dads to be involved in
That's what I would say, common sense.
Some men out there that are not doing what they're supposed to do to be a father, but there are other men that really want to be a part of their child's life, married or not. They want to take responsibility. They want to parent their child.
Jennings is now working to establish similar laws in other states.
God bless Jennings. I hope you get through, man. I understand it, and God bless you on your journey to do that. God bless you to do that. See, another thing is, where a lot of the states, I'm not gonna just say the women only, but the states take away, because having a child in many cases to a lot of men, that gives them a yearning, that gives them a calling, that gives them a desire to go out and work hard and do stuff. Again, there are deadbeat dads out there, the guys out there who don't do nothing. I get that. For most typical men, not all, but most typical men, that gives them a drive for their kids and stuff like that. So that's another thing that we need to talk about. By taking that drive away, yeah, a lot of guys are being just despondent, disheveled, not having, like I said, it's just that situation. Okay? That's what it is. And to finish, like I said, I'll finish with a joke, but I just want to talk about this situation to me. As I stated, I myself went through a situation. My first ever girlfriend ever that I went through, basically, long story short, just because this is what it is, she put a child on me even though I was not the father. And that situation was crazy. The situation was, I never had unprotected sex with no woman until my wife. So I know I'm good. And I made sure Tyler was a brick and all that stuff. But at the time, when if you talk the numbers and you see how things go, at the time, we were not even sexually active. So that situation was that. We were not sexually active at all. So that situation hits me like a ton of bricks. I was like, what? I was a good person. I said, you know what? All right, then. I'm going to go ahead and do what I got to do. I'll do the right thing. And take care of the person. But I was not going to sign nothing until I figure out what the heck was going on, which I didn't. Child was born. The child was born. We did a paternity test. Found out the child was not mine. And I'll be honest to anybody, I was happy at the point, but you know what? I was also, that gave me red pill rage. I did not respect women after that. That turned me a little bit. I was like, what in the... Are you... Really? And I remember I got a closure from the lady because I asked her years later, a year later. I was like, why did you do that? And I hear this is what I said is a rage thing. I asked the young lady, hey, why did you do this? And she stated, and I quote, I saw that you have more, that you're going to do stuff like that. You're going to do more in life and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, you thought that's why you try to put a child on me? Because you saw I had more potential? Okay, I did have more potential, which I've seen this situation. But the funny part about it, I was like, wait a minute. If you see that you had a guy that's good and whatever, and that treated you right and respected you, you would think, oh, I should. Think about it. This is a guy I should not be dating this other guy. But that didn't happen. That did not happen. And I'll be honest, I was angry at the women, all women. Because that was like, I did everything. Again, I did everything right. I didn't do anything wrong. I never hurt nobody. I never went against nobody. But you told me you did this because you saw I had a better potential. But the guy that you did this with, I had a child, he was a thug. And you went with him? Like, that's the kind of thinking that makes guys be like this, ladies. That's where the red pill rage to come from in a way. That upsets us. That sets us off as well. That's what sets us off. So, again, because of that, I have, like I said, never had unprotected sex with any woman until my wife. That was a decision I made. That's why I always say, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, and throw it away. But wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up, because don't take a chance. Do not take a chance, guys. Again, and if a woman knocks away your advancement, like the guy before I said, leave her alone. I myself have went into those situations as well too. Oh, you don't, okay, you know what? I got her out. The girl I was talking to, I never dated really, but talking to before I met my wife, she gave me an out. I backed away with the quickness. She didn't have to tell me nothing because I saw she didn't have the thinking meat that make me think this will be a person. Yes, and she made a lot of money and she had her own company and all that stuff. And I was like, no, nope, not gonna do that. Not gonna do that at all. Y'all can keep that nonsense to yourselves. I ain't doing that at all. At all. Check what I was saying. Let me see. 638. Okay. Check what I was saying about why, like I said, some women think of their value. And again, half of it also too is women have this weird value to themselves. So I wanna check this to you. Person, is this a real person or a robot? Asking this question. I wanna do this before I head out because it kind of ends the story of what I'm talking about.
Why do men have to build themselves and women could just show up?
Can I say something about that? Why are you asking the questions the way that you're asking them?
When you're drunk and stupid.
First of all, I'm a 22-year-old woman, and I make way more than any man I've ever dated.
A man does not have to build himself, but also a woman is such a sacred thing. So, like, why does a man just have to make $0 and be a bum, and like a woman will love them? It's the same question to you.
Okay, here's the thing. We just showed you two stories where the guys had the money, but one had the money and one had the charm, but they didn't do nothing for the females. I just showed you that just a while ago. She don't know, but I just showed you that a while ago. Again, you should not be with a guy who doesn't have no aspirations, no personal stuff. At their age where they're at right now, see if you could build up with somebody. But you're going to see what I'm saying. Yes, you're not. A woman hits a stride between 18 and 28 because of her looks and what her value is. A man hits a stride between 30 and 40. Okay? You might get 20 because a guy had I would say I'm one of the lucky ones because I got a job, I worked hard, and I found my career and everything else. I'll say that. But at 20, no, unless you're a rich millionaire or you got a thing, no man, listen to this.
You're asking me why do men?
Listen, I'm saying, why do women have to build themselves for a man? They do not.
How do women build themselves for a man?
A woman does. Let me tell you, my foundation costs $100. My hair costs $200. What does a man do? Hop out the.
Holy Jesus!
What the fuck?
Your makeup, your hair, y'all that. Again, love my wife with the best of best because thank God you sent my wife to me. I have never paid for a woman's hair. I have never paid for a woman's makeup. Can I afford it? Yes. But that's what you gotta maintain. I did videos about this on my Straight No Chasers. Oh, I got my own house, I got my own car. Men do this too. So I put both men and women in the same category. I got my house, I got a car. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to. You want to look pretty, you pay for that. But I don't think you don't need that. I like natural hair, natural whatever. You have skin stuff, you take medical stuff to clear up your skin. I got that. No problem. But that is not my call. And I am not paying for that. My wife, yeah, there's so we're married now and everything. For just dating and stuff? Oh, no.
The shower and like trim his balls with an electric razor and was like, yeah, I'm done. I
Yeah, because we are men. That's just it.
You guys did that for yourself, not for men.
Exact.
Wow, what a waste. The poor children.
Sure do. I'm just saying. So like, I'm expensive, so a man should have $100K to pay for whatever I want if I need.
You serious?
Needed that.
You know, guys.
100K. You're 23 years old, 100K. You're worth. You think a man should? You know what? Let me end it. Let me end it with a joke and call it as that, okay? Because that is crazy in my opinion. Holy smoke, that is crazy. But let me end it with a joke.
What is the name of the invisible line that runs around the middle of the earth? Ha! 3, 2, 1. Please reveal your answers. Okay. There's nothing there.
It's invisible. Basically, if something is invisible, you cannot see it, therefore it cannot be named. If it cannot be named, there is nothing to write down.
So air is just not a word then?
Oh my goodness me!
This is talking about the whole thing about putting women and children first in a disaster. And obviously, you know, when the Titanic sank, it was famously women and children first when it came to the whole sort of rescue effort thing. There's a new study that says that principle no longer applies in modern Britain. While children would still get preferential treatment, women and men are now more likely to be seen as having an equal rights to that place on the lifeboat. This is so interesting.
Can't have it both ways.
Pardon?
Can't have it both ways. If you want equality, there it is.
Yeah?
Well,
Listen.
There you go. She is correct about that. She's correct about that 100%. You can't have it both ways. I wanted to play that to get through. So again, thank you all for giving me your time. Is whatever. I mean, I see the chat. And thank you, man. It's on the YouTube and everything. We got up to about 29,330. Thank y'all again. You guys could go and check out again Project Open Mic. Yes, I'm trying to get the t3records.com up because that's so you can get that and see the videos and everything as well too. All right, I'm working on it. I got a lot of technicals going here to do stuff. But I want to thank you for giving my time, your mind, your ears, your sight, everything for what you've seen again. And I hope I explained a lot of people out there with Red Pill Page. Again, there's a lot of guys out there who go to, there's a small percent of guys who go to see that and Red Pill Rage and because of association. And those are guys I don't associate because they become incels and try to do stuff like that. And then there's guys who put themselves in a situation like Gary did, and again, but Karen pushed him in a certain way as well too. And then you got some like the stories I just said right there, plus the ending one with Chauncey, where you did not Chauncey with it was I forgot the name, but Chauncey was the guy who was the bad guy, where he did everything right and still somebody did him wrong. And that's what's hurting a lot of men right now. That's why a lot of men are right now this way. They're more from 20 to the 30s. There are more virgins than women. Meaning what? More women will be more promiscuous than men. But to young men, that's all I can say to you is, again, have a sense of purpose, have to do something. I know sometimes it's tough. I do understand that. I am not knocking you down, but if the woman is, find a purpose, find a sense to do something so you could do that. Take up your time. That's what I did in majority of my time. After I went to my Red Pill page, I found I dated a girl that woke me out of it, and we ended our relationship on good terms, still friends to this day. But after that, I was skeptic to a lot of things, and I stayed to myself. I've never really, except for my wife and one other girl I know, that I pursued a girl. All the others was, I stayed to myself because I let things happen. And that's what I did, stayed to myself. So find something. Like I said, I do video games. I know a lot of women look down at that, but again, your husband is at home. My wife don't gotta worry about me going in place because she knows where I'm at. I'm at home. I'm upstairs playing video games. But it was not a bad thing. But yes, find video games, find jogging, find making videos, start singing, find hobby. I do music, like I said, for my life. I found different things to fill up that void, so I don't have that fill that space, so I don't have that void in my problem. So again, I understand that, but I just wanted to explain that. Again, I have a channel called N-DOU in duo. If you like gaming and you just want to talk, you can come on, check me out, and have a conversation with us where we talk about gaming and live streaming and everything like that. Other than that, thank you guys for giving me your time. Hope you have a good week. Again, hearts and prayers goes out to the people out there in Hawaii. All right, take care of yourself. Be careful. Remember, evil comes in all shapes, size, color, creed, height, sex, nationality. Evil's evil. All right, and remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your neighbors, then take care of your community. That's how we get a strong. That's how we get a strong sense of community to help people when things are going down. We don't need a government to be in every single thing, as Hawaii's learning now, because the base, the governor, and the president ain't doing jack squat for them. All right, that's what it is. And for me, that's a situation I don't want to be. I always been dependent on my own. Okay. With that said, also, people are stupid and you're smart. Be that smart individual. Catch y'all next week, next Thursday, same time for Project Open Mic. Peace out. Have a good night.